One of the absolutely critical elements of teamwork is trust. If you do not have trust between your employees at the office, within the office, or between your team members, it's very difficult to build any of the other skills that we've talked about. In fact, without trust, it's almost impossible to have a dynamic discourse conversation because people will fundamentally be unwilling to share their ideas or to be authentic. Now, in the workplace, there's two types of trust that I think are very specific. The first type of trust is, I trust you that if I hand off this project or this part of this project to you, that you'll finish it on time and to the quality that I expect. So that's a very important component of trust. The second part I think is important in the office is that I know that you are not going to backstab me. And what I mean by that is, you're not going to steal my ideas, you're not going to talk about me, you're not going to sabotage me, you're not going to go to my boss, or you're not going to, someone negative influence me. I trust that I can share things with you, I can work with you, I can get into a conversation, I can share my opinions without then all of a sudden turn around and being punished for those. So two critical aspects of trust that you must have in your office to have success. Now, trust is complicated, and it has to do, it's one of those things that it takes a long time to build, and it's very easy to destroy, as many of you have experienced in your personal lives or maybe in the office as well. So what I like to do is introduce a technique that is simple but yet highly effective in building trust. And it puts the responsibility back on your employees to manage that, to police that, and to ultimately learn how to build trust between each other. It also calls out people whose behaviors are clearly outside of the types of behaviors that build trust. And one of the keys to having a great team is getting rid of the bad apples. Bad apples ruin good teams. And the technique that I'm going to introduce to you, the Trust Bank, does a great job of building trust, and it does a great job of making it very clear who the bad apples are and who we need to get rid of to make this thing work. So what is a trust bank? Well, I want you to think of it just like your own bank account. And the trust bank is actually a document that we're going to create and we're going to place in the office, either in everyone's cubicle, we're going to replace it up maybe where everybody can see it. And most importantly, it's a document that was created by the people that are held to that document. And that's why you need buy-in before you can build the trust bank. Because in order to build a trust bank, you must go through the process of getting buy-in so that now once we have people held responsible to this trust bank, that they actually have bought in, it's authentic, and they're willing to abide by it. So what is it? It's very simple. You've got a bank account and you want to put trust deposits into that account. And what we do with this document that we put up is we have the inside the bank and we have the outside of the bank. Behaviors that lead to trust, that build trust, we put inside the bank. And that bank can actually be a picture of a bank, as in our examples, or it can just be a circle, or whatever you want, your favorite shape. And you're going to put all those behaviors inside that build trust. And then on the outside of that shape, within your poster that you're putting up, are going to be the types of behaviors that destroy trust, that lead to non-trusting things. And now, when the group comes up with these, they're going to be common sense. I mean, I think all of us know what builds trust and what takes out trust. But the fact that we're creating them, we're putting them there, inside and outside through an activity that we use to get buy-in to build the trust bank, means that we're going to buy into that. And what's the advantage of that? The advantage is that when somebody now has a behavior that's outside the trust bank, instead of going and telling your boss and having a meeting about how this is untrustworthy and wasting everybody's time, we can simply say, for example, Ron, was that behavior when you did this inside or outside the trust bank? And if it's very clearly outside the trust bank, we have a very clear way to determine what behaviors we want to do and what we don't, and then we can correct those. And that's something that people can do between themselves, not always having to go to HR, having to go to the boss, or what happens in a lot of cases is, because we're being treated like that, now we're going to sabotage that person, or we're going to sabotage the team, or it's going to fester, and it's going to build, and things are going to become worse and worse. So key things with the trust bank are to make sure you use the proper process in creating it. You never ever say, here's the trust bank, and put it up on the wall without creating it through buy-in. And then also, it's important that people are able to use that between each other, so that we can avoid wasteful mediations, bosses, HR. Good luck with your trust bank.